Good afternoon, class 12. Let's start. Conductance. Now, conductance is the property of a substance that allows current to pass through them. Now, those substances are conductors. So, conductors can be divided into two parts. They are metallic conductors and electrolytic conductors. So, let's see the comparison of metallic and electrolytic conductors. In case of metallic conductors, the flow of electricity is due to the flow of electrons, while in case of electrolytic conductors, the flow of electricity is due to the flow of the ions. Under metallic conductors, Faraday's law is never followed. Under electrolytic conductors, Faraday's law is always followed. Under metallic conductors, it does not involve a chemical change, nor it involves transfer of matter, while under electrolytic conductors, it involves a chemical change and transfer of matter. In case of metallic conductors, the conductivity decreases with increase of temperature, while in case of electrolytic conductors, the conductivity increases with increase of temperature. Right? So these are the few points of comparison between metallic and electrolytic conductors. Now we need to know, in case of metallic conductors, the flow of current is expressed in terms of resistance, while in case of electrolytic conductors, the flow of current is expressed in terms of conductance. Now from Ohm's law, we can write R equals to rho L by A, where R is the resistance, rho is the resistivity, and L by A is the cell constant. If we take the reciprocals, it is 1 by R equals to 1 by rho into A by L, then this reciprocal of R, that is reciprocal of resistance, becomes conductance, that is denoted as G. Reciprocal of resistivity is your conductivity, that is denoted as kappa. Okay, so we can write conductivity or specific conductance or kappa equals to G into cell constant, that is conductance into the cell constant. Right? Now, conductivity or specific conductance of a solution in a given solvent at a given temperature is the conductance when distance between the electrodes is unity and area of cross section of the electrodes is unity. That means when L and A equals to 1, in that case your kappa will be equals to G, that is specific conductance will be equals to the conductance of the solution. Right? Now if we talk about the unit of kappa is ohm inverse, centimeter inverse, or mho centimeter inverse, or Simon centimeter inverse. Right? Next, molar conductivity. Molar conductivity, it represents the conducting power of all the ions produced when 1 gram mole of an electrolyte is dissolved in the solution. Molar conductivity is represented as lambda, capital lambda m, that's equals to kappa into 1000 by m, where kappa is the specific conductance and 1000 by m, it represents the volume of the solution in cc containing 1 mole of the electrolyte. So this is the volume of solution in cc per mole, in centimeter cube per mole. Okay? Its unit will be, that is unit of molar conductance will be equals to, we know the units of kappa, ohm inverse, centimeter inverse, and then we come to the unit of 1000 by m. Now m is actually the molarity of the solution, that means the concentration of the solution in moles per liter. So what is the unit of this 1000 by m factor? It is cc per mole. Cc mole inverse. So the unit of lambda m will be equals to ohm inverse, centimeter square, mole inverse. Or I can say it is Simon centimeter square mole inverse. Okay. Next, equivalent conductance or equivalent conductivity. Equivalent conductivity is the conducting power of the ions when 1 gram equivalent of an electrolyte is dissolved in a solution. Right? And here everything will be same, only the capital M will be replaced by capital N. Now capital N is your normality of the solution. It is the concentration in gram equivalent per liter. Okay, and this is represented as lambda equivalent. This is your equivalent conductance. Kappa specific conductance or conductivity. 1000 by m represents the volume of the solution in in cc per gram equivalent. So the unit of lambda equivalent is equals to ohm inverse centimeter inverse, that is unit of the kappa, into unit of this factor, that is 1000 by n, that is equals to cc per gram equivalent. So ohm inverse centimeter square gram equivalent inverse, or I can say Simon centimeter square gram equivalent inverse. Okay, so these are the following units of lambda equivalent or equivalent conductance and the molar conductance. The difference between equivalent conductance and molar conductance is that in case of molar conductance, we take the concentration in normality, that is moles per liter. In case of equivalent conductance, we take the concentrations in gram equivalent per liter or normality. Okay. Next, we come to the factors affecting conductance. First factor is nature of the electrolyte. Now, nature of the electrolyte means what? We basically have strong and weak electrolyte. So we know that strong electrolyte undergoes complete dissociation, producing more number of ions, while weak electrolyte undergoes partial dissociation, producing lesser number of ions. So higher the number of ions, higher will be the conductivity. So strong electrolyte possess higher conductivity value, while weak electrolytes possess lower conductivity value. Means conductivity is directly proportional to the number of the ions generated. Next, we have concentration of the electrolyte. Concentration of electrolyte. Now, under this, we have two types of variation. Means under this, kappa will give a different variation, means conductivity will show a different variation, and molar conductance or equivalent conductance will show a different variation. In case of kappa, that is in case of specific conductance, with increase in concentration of the electrolyte, the conductivity increases. That means with increase in dilution, if I am increasing the dilution, that means if I am adding more and more amount of water, then specific conductance will be decreasing. Okay, in case of specific conductance, it increases with increase of concentration, while it decreases with increase on dilution. Now what happens in case of dilution? We are going to study both for strong and the weak electrolytes. In case of strong electrolytes, they undergo complete dissociation at all concentration. So when dilution is done, the number of ions in case of strong electrolytes remains same, right? At the same time, with increase in dilution, the volume of the solution also increases. Now, as the number of ions remaining same, volume of the solution increases, so number of ions per unit volume will be decreasing. As a result, the conductivity, that is kappa, will be decreasing for these strong electrolytes. Next, we have the weak electrolytes. In case of weak electrolytes, the dissociation will be increasing with dilution. If I am adding more and more amount of water, the weak electrolyte will undergo more dissociation. So the number of ions will be increasing. At the same time, volume is also increasing. In case of weak electrolyte, the increase in the volume of the solution will be much more than the increase in the number of ions on dilution. So in this case also, the number of ions per unit volume will be decreasing. As a result, kappa will be decreasing. And means kappa is decreasing with increase in dilution. Okay, in case of strong electrolyte, number of ions remaining fixed, but the volume is increasing, so number of ions per unit volume decreases. In case of weak electrolyte, both volume of the solution and dissociation of the electrolyte increases, but increase in the volume is much more, so here also number of ions per unit volume will be lesser. As a result, kappa decreases both for strong and weak electrolyte with dilution. Next, we have the molar conductance or the equivalent conductance. In case of molar or equivalent conductance, both for strong and weak electrolyte with dilution, the conductivity will be increasing. So let's talk about strong electrolyte. Strong electrolyte undergoes complete dissociation at all concentration. So on dilution, the number of ions will remain same. Okay. So what happens in this case? In this case, in case of strong electrolyte with dilution, the inter-ionic attraction is decreasing, which increases the mobility of the ions. As a result, the conductivity will be increasing. So in case of strong electrolyte, inter-ionic interactions are decreasing. Strong electrolyte inter-ionic interactions or inter-ionic attraction decreases on dilution, that increases the mobility, which increases the conductivity. For weak electrolyte, what happens? On dilution, the dissociation of the weak electrolyte increases, so the number of ions increases. As a result, the conductivity increases. So here the conductivity increases due to the increase in the number of ions. Okay, while in case of strong electrolyte, the conductivity increases due to the decrease in the inter-ionic attractions. Okay, now if we study the graph both for strong and weak electrolyte, this plot of lambda, capital lambda versus concentration, what do we get to see? Lambda m or lambda EQ, root concentration, this one. Now this is for strong electrolyte and this one is for weak electrolyte. From the graph only we can understand the variation in the conductivity or the change in the conductivity is very small in case of strong electrolyte, while the change is very huge in case of the weak electrolyte. Okay, now at infinite dilution when concentration tends to 0, then the molar conductance reaches a limiting value, that is known as your molar conductance at infinite dilution, that is denoted as lambda m0 or lambda m infinite. This is known as molar conductance at infinite dilution, right? Now in case of strong electrolyte, we can find out this value by extrapolation of this line towards the y-axis. This is called extrapolation. Then only I can find out the value of lambda m0 from the graphical plot. But for weak electrolyte, we cannot do this. We cannot find out the value of lambda m0 because this graph is not a linear plot. Okay? For that reason, we cannot find out the exact value of lambda m0 from the graph. For strong electrolyte, we have an equation lambda m equals to lambda m0 minus b root c. This is given by Colrush, where lambda m is the molar conductance at a given concentration. Lambda m0, it's a molar conductance at infinite dilution. B is a constant, C is the concentration. So from this equation only, if C tends to 0, then lambda m will be equal to lambda m0. Okay, for strong electrolyte, we can calculate this value from the graph. For weak electrolyte, we cannot calculate this value from the graph. Okay. Next, we have the third factor, that is temperature. Now, as the temperature increases, the mobility of the ion increases, speed increases, so the conductivity will also be increasing, right? Next, we have the last part, that is Colrush law. Colrush law. Colrush law of independent migration of ions. Now, at infinite dilution, each ion will contribute to the molar conductivity of the solution, such that contribution of one ion will be independent of the contribution of the other ion. And so, at that point, the molar conductivity is represented as this. Okay, where V positive, V negative are the number of cations and anions produced, and this lambda positive and lambda negative, they represent the ionic conductance of cations and anions respectively. So at that point, molar conductance is equal to the sum of the ionic conductances, right? So this is your Colrush law. What are the applications of Colrush law? First application is it helps to calculate the molar conductivity of weak electrolyte at infinite dilution. It helps to calculate their degree of dissociation, that is alpha, and the dissociation constant of the weak electrolyte. So that's it, class 12. Thank you.